GeoVax Labs, Inc. trades on the NASDAQ under the symbol GOVX. It's a clinical stage biotech company focusing on novel vaccines for many of the world's most life-threatening infectious diseases and cancers. Happy to welcome back Chairman, President, CEO, David Dodd. Welcome back, David.
Thank you. Good to be here.
All right, David, I understand today you'll focus on Mpox or monkeypox vaccine, and it's also very timely with your press release today. So let's get started. The floor is yours.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you. I look forward to it. Thank you, everyone, for your interest. So I just first, before I jump right into the Mpox vaccine and the progress on there, let me just remind everybody we actually have 3 priority programs that are rapidly advancing. One is our next generation COVID-19 vaccine. That is the vaccine for which we received an award last June. The announcement was made from BARDA of approximately $400 million. That's continuing. We expect to see that initiate before the end of this year. So right now, all the operational aspects of what doing the sites, the manufacturing, the product, all of that's underway. Then I'll talk about the GeoMVA, which is our Mpox vaccine, but also I want to mention that Gedeptin, the solid tumor therapy, that is continuing to move forward towards a phase 2 study. But let's get to what we want to talk about today, and that is really Mpox, which is a very harsh infectious virus and all. You may recall that last summer and again in November, the WHO issued their greatest declaration they have is when they declare something as a public health emergency of international concern. That was done on August the 14th, and then again reiterated on November the 2nd. This outbreak, it just continues not only in Africa now, it's also occurring. We're having cases now have been reported in the US and multiple states. It's also being reported in Europe. This is a real concern because the mortality rate of the current strain is 3 to 10% is what it's being estimated. And that compares to 1%, which is what we were talking about 2 years ago. So this is not something to dismiss. We should all be very concerned about it. As I mentioned, it's migrating worldwide. So this is a real problem and it's not going to slow down. It's a very ugly infectious disease. It scars the body. It can blind people. It can kill children. Children are at the highest risk because young children have never received the vaccine to prevent it, which was the historical, the smallpox vaccine. So it's passed from very casually, this current strain is. It could be a child sleeping in the parent's bed and one of the adults may have been exposed to the virus. So it's something we need to very much be concerned about. We issued a press release earlier today on where we are with the advancing progress of our own product, which I'll talk about in this presentation, but we also emphasize how on a global basis, this is a major, increasingly more relevant concern. So what's the solution? Well, the solution is that, first of all, WHO is coordinating everything. But right now, there's a preferred vaccine. It goes by the name of MVA. That's the type of vaccine it is. There's a single supplier worldwide, and they do not have sufficient manufacturing capacity to produce what is currently needed, much less what is going to be needed throughout this year and into next year. So there's a real problem here. For instance, Africa has indicated that the continent of Africa needs 25 million doses in 2025. That's what the Africa CDC Director General has repeatedly stated since this past summer. The problem is that the single source supplier can only provide 2 to 5 million doses this year. That's a horrible situation to be in. So what is being sought is, are there other manufacturers that can supply this vaccine? There is one, and that's GeoVax, and we're very proud to be in that position. And I want to update you on where we are and why this is so critically important. Right now, single source supplier, they're a foreign supplier. They're out of Denmark. They don't have the manufacturing capacity to meet the current demand, much less the growing demand. We have a product which we refer to as GeoMVA. It's important to note that MVA is a vaccine that was originally developed for smallpox, but it also works against Mpox because they're from the same family of what they call pox viruses. So we have MVA. This company in Denmark has MVA. They're essentially the same. And so that's why we have been pushing on an accelerated basis to move this forward. I'm happy to report that as of December, we completed the manufacturing under current good manufacturing practices. That means it's been released. Also, it's ready and now available to go into humans once we put it into the vials. A vial is basically what you place the needle in to pull out the vaccine drug. So that is going to be completed as best we can tell right now by mid-year of this year. And we will then be making it available to various stakeholders. We're in discussions for potentially supplying some to WHO, to other entities, also UNICEF, et cetera. And at the same time, later this year, we'll be starting our own clinical evaluation using this product. This will begin to add to the supply that is needed worldwide. So we're ready to go. Second half, we're already in discussions about what is known as emergency use licensing. We're having those discussions both this half as well as into the second half throughout the year. And we'll be initiating our own clinical evaluation in the second half of this year. And we also will be progressing towards a new manufacturing process for the MVA vaccine that will enable much greater quantity of product to be available in a shorter time, faster manufacturing, and also at a lower cost. So this will be very important. Now, that new advanced manufacturing won't be available, that process, for a couple of years. So in the interim, we're using the same traditional manufacturing process as the current supplier, and what we'll be able to do is add to what is available on a global basis. So at that point, Anna, I'm going to stop. There may be some questions, but I would say that GeoMVA may very likely be our first revenue cash generator as a company for us over the next few years as we move this into clinical evaluation and work with some of the entities, hopefully, for instance, with WHO under emergency use licensing. So I'll pause there, and if there are any questions, I'm happy to take those.
Wonderful. Thank you, David. Yes, question asking, when did you say the start of the 10,000 patient trial commencement is? When the first updates to be expected as well?
Okay, so the trial, that is the Project NextGen trial that's being funded by BARDA. That is indeed the phase 2B 10,000 patient trial of our next generation COVID-19 vaccine. That is anticipated to start by, we believe right now, by year end, but it's not set because the CRO is continuing to complete the contracts with the 80 sites that have all been confirmed. We're involved in the process. We're responsible for the manufacturing of the product and also all the regulatory filings that have to be done. So we're doing our activities. Our CRO is doing theirs. Right now, our target is by year end, but can't promise that because we can't control all the elements of it.
And can you give an update on the Gedeptin?
Yes, the Gedeptin, as we mentioned in the previous time we spoke, Gedeptin is the technology that is targeted for solid tumors. The phase 2 trial we're planning is going to be among first recurrent head and neck cancer patients prior to resection. It'll be utilizing Gedeptin in combination with an immune checkpoint inhibitor. That program, or that clinical study program, is currently in the planning stage, in the sense that the protocol is being finalized. That will lay everything out. That'll guide everything. The CRO has been hired. CRO and our clinical team and our advisors are all working diligently on that. And we're working towards ensuring that we have all the product manufactured in advance of starting the trial. So right now, I would like to say that would start this year. Again, can't promise that because there are a number of pieces going on with that. And we just recently assigned the CRO that responsibility a few weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, in fact.
Wonderful. Narayana asks, are there any sites in the United States? I'm not exactly sure what she's referencing, but any sites in the U.S.?
Let me address both of them. The Project NextGen trial will all be in the United States. The GeoMVA, the Mpox trial, which she may be asking about, we anticipate and we're planning for that to be conducted in the U.S. and Europe and in Africa.
Perfect. All right, David, do you have any closing remarks for our viewers today?
I just want to thank everybody for their interest. These are excellent questions, and I
Did we
look
lose
forward
David?
to follow-ups. Thank you.